Hello everyone. In the last session, we have seen the high frequency response of common gate amplifier. Also, we compared the high frequency response of common gate amplifier with common source amplifier, and we have seen that in terms of gain, common source amplifier is better, while for bandwidth, common gate amplifier is better. So this comparison was made for similar parameters in both the amplifiers. In order to get an amplifier with relatively high gain as well as relatively high bandwidth, we should combine the common source amplifier with common gate amplifier. One of such configuration is called as a cascade amplifier. We are going to study the high frequency response of cascade amplifier. We will see how to adjust certain parameters so that as per the application we can get higher gain, and in other applications how to get higher bandwidth with the help of cascade amplifier. So trade-offs are possible for cascade amplifier. Now here we will consider a simple case where there is resistance RD, NMOS, where gate is connected to DC voltage VB, and another NMOS whose gate is connected to Vin. Output is taken from drain of the MOSFET M2. So this is M2, this is M1, and we have the load resistance CL dash. So this configuration is called as a cascade amplifier, common source amplifier consisting of M1 followed by the common gate amplifier consisting of M2. RD is the load. So this is VDD. Now in order to study the high frequency response of this cascade amplifier, we will find out both midband gain and higher 3 dB frequency. So first thing that we are going to study is the midband gain. So we will see how to calculate the midband gain. We know that in order to find out the midband gain, we neglect all the capacitances. We should understand that CL dash is the input capacitance of the next stage. So in order to calculate the midband gain, we are going to use what is called as the capital GM into R out method. So midband gain AM is given by minus GM into R out. Now we will see first how to calculate capital GM. So in calculation of capital GM, again I will draw the circuit here without capacitance, and as per the definition of, so this is V in, as per the definition of GM, the output terminal should be short circuited to ground. The current that flows through it is called as a I out, VDD and RD. So you know that for AC analysis, DC voltage sources are short circuited. So this is also VB, which is also connected to ground. So the relationship between, so capital GM is defined as I out divided by V in. Now in this case the only source of current is MOSFET M1. MOSFET M1 has a source GM into VGS. So in this case VGS is V in. So GM into VGS, this current is generated by this particular MOSFET. So there is a resistance RO in parallel with, so this is RO1. So the current generated by MOSFET M1. So this model I will show you, like there is the current that is generated by this particular MOSFET M1 is GM1 into VGS, which is equal to GM1 into V in. Then there is a resistance RO1, and in the upward direction, as the output terminal is short circuited to ground, the other resistance is 1 by GM2 parallel RO2. They are in parallel because 1 by GM is present here, 1 by GM2, and RO2 is present between these two terminals, so RO2. So 1 by GM2 parallel RO2. So the current that flows through 1 by GM2 parallel RO2 is nothing but I out. If there is a change in the direction of a current, we will get a negative sign in calculating values. But here in the form of equation, we can write GM into VGS, GM1 into VGS into RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 parallel RO2 is the current I out. And we know that VGS is nothing but V in. So from this, I out by V in, which is equal to capital GM, is RO1 is equal to RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 parallel RO2 multiplied by GM1. So we can see that 1 by GM2 parallel RO2 is very close to 1 by GM2. So it is RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 into GM1. So in the denominator, I can write RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 is very close to RO1 into GM1. So which is equal to GM1. So capital GM is very close to GM1. Now the next step is to find out capital R out. So again the same circuit. This is M2. This is M1. So we have to find out the impedance R out looking from this. So this is VDD. RD. We know that we should short circuit all the other voltage sources including V in finding out R out. VDD is also connected to ground. So we can see that R out is parallel combination of this R up and this resistance R down. So I can directly write the equation for R out because the R down is nothing but the resistance in from the drain terminal, because in this case you can see that this can be replaced by a resistance RO1, the resistance offered by it, because 1 by GM is short circuited. So this will not come into picture, only RO1. So R out can be written as, it is like source degeneration. So we will get R out as up resistance is RD parallel RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2, which under approximation we can write it as RD parallel GM2 RO1 RO2. Okay, so we have now capital GM as well as R out. So midband gain AM can be written as minus capital GM is GM1, while R out is given by RD parallel GM2 RO1 RO2. Now for simplifying the analysis, we can assume as a more simplified case as GM1 is equal to GM2 is equal to GM and RO1 equal to RO2 is equal to RO. Now this is possible only when M1 and M2 have the same size, and as they are in series they carry the equal current. So we can write AM as AM is equal to minus GM RD parallel GM RO square. Okay, so this is the expression for capital GM for this. In addition to it, we have to find out the frequency response of the same circuit. So we have resistance RD, this is VDD, same circuit I am drawing so that we can see what are the different capacitances that are involved in the circuit. So this is M1, this is M2. Output is taken from this terminal and there is a capacitance, load capacitance of CL dash. RD also includes the input resistance of the next stage. So for finding out omega H, this VB should be connected to ground. This is V in. The different capacitances. So this capacitance will be equal to CGD1. This capacitance is CGS1. Body terminal is connected to ground. So this capacitance is CDB1. CSB1 is short circuited. Both the terminals are connected to ground, so it should not be shown in the circuit. Similarly, here there will be capacitance CGD2. There is a capacitance CGS2. Body is connected to ground, so capacitance CSB2 and CDB2. So all capacitances have been shown. You should observe it carefully, all the capacitances. Now there are 3 nodes in the circuit. This is node 1, this is node 2, and this is the third node where output is taken is node 3. So by using the open circuit time constant method, we will write the expression for omega H. So in order to write omega H, now you can observe that at node 1 the capacitance is present between node 1 and ground, but there is no resistance between node 1 and ground. In finding out the open circuit time constant omega H by open circuit time constant, input should be connected to ground because it is a voltage. So there is no resistance between node 1 and ground, and that's why there is no time constant associated with node 1. At node 2 we have capacitances and the resistances. So to show the resistances, so I will draw the MOSFET, the structure again, in order to show you the resistance present between node 2 and ground. So this terminal is connected to ground, this terminal is connected to ground, this is M1, this is M2, and we are talking about the resistance here. So the resistance between node 2 and ground is the down resistance and the up resistance. They are in parallel. So up resistance, this is connected to ground. So up resistance is given by RD, this is RD, plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 RO2. So in presence of RO, for common gate amplifier, if we look through the source terminal, the resistance is given by RD plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 RO2. And the down resistance is, this resistance is RO1. So the resistance between node 2 and ground is RO1 parallel RD plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 RO2. So this should be very clear. And the capacitance between node 2 and ground is CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2. So this is the total capacitance between node 2 and ground. Observe it carefully from this diagram, the capacitances that I have written. At node 3, so again I will delete this part of the circuitry. I have to find out what is the resistance between node 3 and ground and what is the total capacitance between node 3 and ground. So in this case we have resistance RD, two MOSFETs M1 and M2. So upper one is M2 while this is M1. So this is connected to ground, this is connected to ground in finding out the impedance at node 3. So we have seen that this impedance is RD parallel. RD is the upward resistance, parallel will be the down resistance, and down resistance is given by RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2. So if I write this as a resistance RD parallel RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2. So this is the resistance between node 3 and ground, and the total capacitance, you can see that it is CGD2 plus CDB2 plus CL dash. So it is CGD2 plus CDB2 plus CL dash. Now I will replace this CDB2 plus CL dash by a single equivalent resistance because they are in parallel. So I will replace it by capacitance CL. Okay, CG2 I purposefully have not replaced it because in certain cases it becomes a floating capacitance. Here it is not, but I will not replace it by the equivalent capacitance. So in this case we got the expression for omega h. Now under different circumstances we have to compare omega h. So omega h expression has been given here and AM. I will compare these two, or I will calculate it under different values of RD because that will specify what will be the gain of the amplifier and what will be bandwidth. So first we will write down the expression case 1 when RD tends to infinity. So RD is very large. How to make RD large? See, RD is not always the discrete resistance, but it is a resistance created by MOSFET. So if you want to increase the value of RD, I can have a combination something. So I will use PMOS there. This is connected to VB, say VB2. This is connected to VB3. And if I look from this terminal, I will get higher value of resistance RD. So it is a source degeneration for PMOS. So in that way, RD can be realized. So we can make RD even larger by different arrangements. So under this case, the value of capital this AM flat band gain can be written as, so gain expression has been written here. If RD is very large, close to infinity, RD parallel GM RO square can be safely written as only GM RO square. So AM becomes minus GM into GM RO square, where GM RO square is equivalent of RD parallel GM RO square because RO is infinite. So this can be written as minus GM into RO whole square. Similarly, we can write down the expression for omega h. Omega h is equal to 1 upon. Now we can see that if RD is infinite, this factor becomes infinite and we can replace this parallel combination of RO1 and RD plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM to RO2 by simply RO1. So it is RO1 CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2 plus, so in this case we can see that if RD is infinite, so this can be neglected, and RO1 plus RO2 plus GM to RO1 RO2 can be simply written as GM RO square, because we have assumed GM2 is equal to GM1 is equal to GM and RO1 is equal to RO2 is equal to RO. So GM RO square multiplied by CGD2 plus CL. We know that the value of CL is large even if it is compared with CGS2, because it is a input capacitance of the next stage and might be the Miller multiplication of floating capacitance in the next stage on the input side. So generally CL is larger than even CGS2. So in such case, this can be approximately written as, if you compare these two terms, term 1 and term 2, term 2 is always higher than term 1. So RO1, I said I will replace it by RO. So here the multiplication factor is RO, and here the multiplication factor is GM into RO square. So definitely the second term is higher. So it can be approximately written as 1 upon GM RO square into CGD2 plus CL. So we have this as gain when RO is infinity and this as bandwidth. So we can see that gain is quite high while bandwidth is relatively low, because denominator is quite large, so it is close to origin. So in this case we will find out also a parameter called the gain bandwidth product, which is nothing but mod of AM and omega h, product of these two quantities. Mod of AM is GM square RO square into omega h is 1 upon GM RO square into CGD2 plus CL. So in this case RO square gets cancelled and we get the expression as GM upon CGD2 plus CL. So we got the expression for AM, that is a midband gain, and higher 3 dB frequency omega h, and also the gain bandwidth product. Now we will consider the second case, when case 2, when RD is very close to 0. So you should understand that you cannot make RD equal to 0, otherwise the gain will be equal to 0. So RD is very small in comparison to RO. So we can find out what is the effect of it, effect of making the load as small as possible. So in this case, what will happen? I will go back to the expression for gain. This is the general expression. So if RD is very small in comparison to GM RD is very small, then RD parallel GM into RO square can be approximately written as RD. So capital AM in this case becomes minus GM into RD. So we can see that in previous case the gain was GM into RO whole square. Here it is simply minus GM into RD. So gain has reduced. We will see now what is the effect of it on omega h, that is higher 3 dB frequency. So we will go back to the expression here. So in this case, when RD is very small, we can see that this expression, this part of the expression, I will write it here. RD is very small, so RD plus RO2 can be simply written as RO2 divided by 1 plus Gm2 RO2 can be simply written as Gm2 RO2. Gm2 RO2. So under this approximation, RO2 gets cancelled. So this factor becomes 1 by Gm2. So RO1 parallel 1 by Gm2 can be written as simply equal to 1 by Gm, because Gm2 Gm1 is replaced by Gm. So it becomes 1 by Gm into CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2. Okay, this is under the situation when RD is quite small. Plus, you can see that RD parallel RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2 will be simply equal to RD. So I will replace it as RD into CGD2 plus CL. Now if we compare these values, RD is smaller, but RD is not smaller than 1 by Gm. Also CL is quite large in comparison to the other capacitances present here. So in this case also, see, RD cannot be made very small. The reason is the gain will drop down to a very small value. So under this assumption, RD is smaller but not smaller than 1 by Gm. This can be approximately written as 1 upon RD into CGD2 plus CL. So we got this as a gain, this as a bandwidth, and we can see that even though the gain is less, bandwidth is more, because RD into CGD2 plus CL is smaller than Gm into RO square. So you should not take this as a division factor. So it is smaller than Gm into RO square multiplied by CGD2 plus CL. Bandwidth here is more. So in this case, if I write the expression for gain bandwidth product, that is G gain bandwidth product is equal to mod of AM multiplied by omega H. AM is simply Gm into RD, while omega H is 1 upon RD into CGD2 plus CL. So RD gets cancelled. We get the gain bandwidth product as Gm divided by CGD2 plus CL. So gain bandwidth product here and the previous case, they are same, right? So in first case, when RD is equal to infinite, gain is more but bandwidth is less. In second case, gain is less but the bandwidth is more. So if I plot this now, if I plot this, we will be getting a structure something like this. So when RD is infinite, this will be 20 log of mod of AM, which is equal to Gm into RO whole square. So this is, and in this case the value of omega H, this is omega H, is given by 1 upon Gm RO square into CGD2 plus CL. In second case, when we use RD very small, we get the midband gain as 20 log of Gm RD. So it is smaller than 20 log of Gm into RO whole square, and the corresponding bandwidth, that is omega H, in this case it is given by 1 upon RD into CGD2 plus CL. But in both cases, this is represented by omega T we call it as a gain bandwidth product or what is called the unity gain bandwidth. This value in both cases is equal to Gm upon CGD2 plus CL. So you can see the trade-off. So on this axis we plotted AS in terms of dB, and on this axis we have plotted log of omega. So gain bandwidth product is a constant value. If we make RD large in order to increase the gain, the bandwidth become less. If we make RD small, the gain becomes DC gain or the midband gain become less, but the bandwidth becomes more. So we can have a choice between gain and bandwidth, and we can adjust this as per our requirement by varying the value of load resistance from a very low value to very high value, and we will get the amplifier with different characteristics. Now this we have done by taking load as RD, but we can replace RD by various kinds of loads. Here we can also see if RD is made up of the current source, the PMOS current source, we will see the analysis of this circuit. So we will go back to the same circuit again, to the circuit which consists of PMOS as a load whose gate is connected to VB3. I will call this MOSFET as M3. Then there is M2 whose gate is connected to VB2, and then there is M1 which is a common source amplifier. In the previous case in analysis we have assumed to be R in equal to 0, but as a general case we can take this R in also, and V in is connected here. We will do now the frequency analysis, high frequency analysis of this amplifier. So this is V out, load capacitance is CL dash. So to analyze this circuit, we will do it quickly. We have to find out first what is called as the midband gain AM. Here we are going to assume that GM1 is equal to GM2 is equal to GM, RO1 equal to RO2 is equal to RO, but RO3 cannot be said to be equal to, because it is RO of PMOS. So that assumption we will not make. So under this situation, in order to calculate AM, we are going to do capital GM into R out method. AM is given by minus GM into R out. To calculate GM is the output should be short circuited to ground, and we have to find out the relationship between I out and V in. So in this case, capital GM can be written as RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 parallel RO2, which is very close to multiplied by GM1, so which is very close to GM1, which is equal to GM as per our assumption. So GM1 into RO1 divided by RO1 plus 1 by GM2 parallel RO2. So this is capital GM. R out is R up parallel R down. This is R up, and this factor is R down. So we can write it as R up is equal to RO3 parallel RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2, which can be written as RO3 parallel GM RO square. As per our assumption, GM1 equal to GM2 is equal to GM, and RO1 equal to RO2 equal to RO. So we get this can be approximately written as Gm Rho square. Okay, so we have, now we can write the expression for Am. We have Gm as well as Rout. So minus Gm into Rho3 parallel Gm Rho square. Right, now we will write down the expression for the omega h. So again I will draw the circuit, will show all the capacitances and try to find out the open circuit time constant using open circuit time constant value of omega h. So this is V in, R in, this is M1, so I will not show its name. So we have VB2 is connected to ground, VB1 connected to ground, this is PMOS, while rest of the are NMOS, rest of the transistors are NMOS. This is connected to VDD. For AC analysis this is connected to ground. VB1, VB2, VB3 they are connected to ground. The capacitance is here CGD1, CGS1, body is connected to ground, so there is a capacitance CDB1. Similarly here there will be capacitance CGS2, CGD2, body is connected to ground, there is a capacitance CDB2 and there is a capacitance CSB2, and on this side here there is a CL dash, and then there is a capacitance, this is CGD3. So this capacitance is short circuited because both of its terminals, so we will not show it in the circuit. Then there is a capacitance CDB3. Now we know at every node, so there are 3 nodes now, node 1, node 2 and node 3. So we have to write down the expression for time constant at every node, add them and take the inverse of the addition to find out omega h. So omega h equal to, at node 1 there are 2 resistances, one is R in, so R in is the resistance, resistance is 1, R in, and the capacitance at node 1 is CGS1 plus the Miller multiplication of CGD1. So to find out the Miller multiplication, now this part of the circuitry, so we are talking in terms of, now this is M2 and then this is M1. See, R in is not going to change any voltage at this point, so this voltage will be same as V in. So in finding out a gain from node 1 to node 2, resistance R in will not come into picture. So the gain is simply GM1 into RD. RD means the resistance at node 2. So the resistance at node 2 is RO3 plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 into RO2 parallel RO1. So this is the value of RD at node 2, that is the resistance at the drain terminal of MOSFET M1, and the gain is given by AV. So gain AV is given by minus GM, which is GM1 into RD, that is RO1 parallel RO3 plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 into RO2. So this is the gain from node 1 to node 2. So Miller multiplication of CGD1 will be 1 plus RO1, or I can write it as 1 plus GM. GM in this case is GM1 into RO1 parallel RO3 plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 into RO2. This is 1 plus AV multiplied by CGD2. So this is the time constant that is associated with node 1. At node 2, you can see that the resistance between node 2 and ground is RO1 parallel RO3 plus RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 into RO2 is the resistance, and the total capacitance, because CGD1 due to Miller multiplication will be simply equal to CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2. So this is the Miller multiplication, or this is the total capacitance at node 2. The total resistance is, so we know that the time constant consists of at any node the total capacitance between that node and a ground and the resistance between that node and a ground. We have to take the multiplication of these two factors to find out a time constant. So this is second time constant. At node 3 the resistance is RD, which is equal to RO3 parallel RO1 plus RO2 plus GM2 RO1 RO2. So this is the total resistance, and the total capacitance is at node 3, it is equal to node 3, it is CGD2 plus CDB2 plus CGD3 plus CDB3 plus CL dash. Now out of this I will replace this combination, that is CDB2 plus CGD2 plus CDB3 plus CL, by a simple load which is equal to CL. So we'll replace this by a capacitance CL. So that complete expression is not required. So we have now the expression for omega h. This is the big expression for omega h and AM, that is a mid-band gain. Here also we will write it for different cases. So case 1, when load in this case is RO3. You should not consider that RO3 is a single resistance. It might be what we call it as the cascading of PMOSes to create RO. So RO3 tends to infinity. So in this case we can write that if RO3 tends to infinity, capital AM from this expression, so from this expression we can see that it is, if RO3 is infinity, RO3 parallel GM into RO square will be simply equal to GM into RO square. So the gain becomes minus GM into RO whole square. So gain becomes GM into RO whole square, right, when RO is infinity. And omega h can be written as 1 upon R in into CGS1 plus, now in this case we are assuming RO3 to be infinity, so this factor is infinite, so parallel combination will be simply equal to RO1, so it is 1 plus GM1 RO1 into CGD. So RO3 is quite huge, so this can be neglected. So 1 plus GM RO into CGD2 into CGD2. So we get the factor CGS1 plus CGD2 plus GM RO into CGD2. So this is the factor that we are going to get. Here also the parallel combination will be equal to RO, and we have CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2 plus, if RO3 is infinite, this can be written as GM into RO square multiplied by CGD2 plus CL. Remember, CL is a combination of the different capacitors. So CL consists of CGD2 plus CGD3 plus CDB2 plus CDB3 plus CL dash. So it is a huge value. So even that value of CL is greater than Miller multiplication of CGD1. Miller multiplication of CGD1. So here I should write actually 1. Miller multiplication of CGD1. Here also CGD1. So that value is larger. So this can be approximately written as 1 upon GM RO square into CGD2 plus CL when RO3 or the load is quite large. Now if we take the product of gain and bandwidth, so gain bandwidth product is equal to mod of AM into omega h is equal to mod of AM is GM RO whole square into 1 by GM RO square into CGD2 plus CL. Will get it as GM upon CGD2 plus CL. So gain bandwidth product is this much. So if we compare, gain is quite huge. It is GM into RO whole square. Bandwidth is small because the denominator is quite large. So bandwidth is small relatively. We will see it in the second case. And the gain bandwidth product is GM upon CGD2 plus CL. Now second case we will consider here now. So case 2, when load is very small, load in this case is RO3. If RO3 tends to 0, AM, if RO3 is quite small, you can see that the general expression for gain is given here. So if RO3 is quite small compared to GM into RO square, the gain is simply equal to minus GM into RO3. So AM is equal to minus GM into RO3. We will write down the expression for omega h, which is equal to 1 upon. So again, from the normal expression, if RO3 is quite small, this particular factor can be written as, so it is RO2 divided by 1 plus GM to RO2, or I can write it as RO2 divided by GM to RO2, so which is equal to 1 by GM2. So 1 by GM2 parallel RO1 is equal to 1 by GM2. So GM1 multiplied by 1 by GM2 will be equal to close to 1. So I will be getting it as Rin into CGS1 plus twice CGD1. So this value is R in CGS1 plus twice CGD1. So you can see the approximation, twice CGD1. This is the approximation that generally we use it for when the value of RO3 is quite small. Similarly, here also this is approximately equal to RO1. So RO3 is quite small. So RO3 can be neglected. RO2 divided by 1 plus GM2 RO2, which is same as RO2 divided by GM2 RO2. So 1 by GM2. 1 by GM2 parallel RO1 is 1 by GM2, which is equal to 1 by GM. So plus 1 by GM in bracket we have CGD1, CDB1, CGS2 and CSB2. So it is CGD1 plus CDB1 plus CGS2 plus CSB2, and the last term plus, you can see that if RO3 is quite small, the parallel combination will be simply equal to RO3. So RO3 into CGD2 plus CL plus RO3 into CGD2 plus CL. If you compare now, the last term is larger than any of the remaining terms. See, Rin is the output resistance of the previous stage, and we generally design the voltage amplifier with the output impedance small in order to avoid the loading effect. We will see what is the loading effect in the next few sessions. Rin is small in comparison to RO3. We have seen that CL is also quite huge value. So the last term is quite larger than remaining two terms. So this can be approximately written as 1 upon RO3 into CGD2 plus CL. So we have gain equal to GM3 RO3. Gain is GM3 small value. Bandwidth is 1 upon RO3 CGD2 plus CL. It is relatively larger than the previous value. Previous bandwidth is 1 upon GM RO square multiplied by CGD2 plus CL. So GM RO square is definitely very large in comparison to RO3. So in such case, bandwidth is quite large, gain is less, and you can see that the gain bandwidth product, which is a product of mod of AM and omega H. After substituting the value, mod of AM is GM into RO3 multiplied by 1 upon RO3 into CGD2 plus CL. So RO3 gets cancelled and we get the value as GM upon CGD2 plus CL. You can see that the gain bandwidth product in both cases remains same. We get the higher gain in case of load is quite large but the bandwidth is less. If the load is quite small, gain is less but the bandwidth is more. So we can selectively choose the load resistance and select between higher gain and the higher bandwidth. So in this case also, if we plot the graph, so we'll get 20 log of GM into RO whole square omega H, that is a 3 dB bandwidth. Higher 3 dB bandwidth in this case is given by 1 upon GM RO square into CGD2 plus CL. If we select load small, so this is given by 20 log of GM RO3, while the corresponding bandwidth omega H is given by RO3 multiplied by CGD2 plus CL. In both cases, the gain bandwidth product, or which is called as a unity gain bandwidth, omega t, is given by Gm upon CGD2 plus CL. So we have a trade-off. This is AS in dB, while on this axis we have plotted log of omega. We can see that we can change gain and bandwidth as per our requirement, but if we try to improve the gain, bandwidth reduces. If we try to increase the bandwidth, gain reduces. So this trade-off is possible, but by choosing the value of load resistance, we can change the gain and bandwidth as per our requirement in this case. So all this analysis has been shown here in this particular slide, so you can go through it. All the explanation has been given, and we can see the trade-off and the corresponding values of gain and bandwidth for different values of load resistance has been explained here. So the next slide shows the graph for common source cascode amplifier with PMOS current source as a load, and this is for the resistance RD as a load. So in both cases we are going to get the gain bandwidth product a constant value irrespective of the load. So you can see the complete analysis. We will see that there are many applications of cascode amplifier in designing of amplifier with good characteristics in terms of gain and bandwidth. Thank you.